thing that I'm fond of is picking winners. You know? Like my man's in 2 for the money, John Anthony. All I do is work out and pick winners. So, Ohio State and Clemson or the field. Now, if you're going to pick Ohio State and Clemson, you're picking system. You're picking head coach. You're picking quarterback. You're basically picking continuity and experience. Because now we all know what Justin Fields is capable of. He also had a 2,000-yard rusher last year that he no longer has. Now, Master Teague, I don't think dude's going to be ready to go. Achilles. But they got Trey Sermon coming out the portal. And we all know from experience, Trey Sermon can get this word in, folks. Okay? The preacher man is the real one. You also got Marcus Crowley coming back from injury. And then you get loaded at wideout. CJ Saunders coming back. Mookie Cooper. Julian Fleming is going to be the best wide receiver that these national college football analysts are going to be like, yo, who is this guy? And y'all going to be like, RJ told us. He's been telling us for 2 years who Julian Fleming is. Number 1 wide receiver in the 2020 class. He is the best non-quarterback in the Big Ten, period. Okay? I hesitate to put him ahead of Eric Gilbert in the conversation of who's going to be the best true freshman, not a quarterback. But it's there. And Eric Gilbert is 6'5", 253 pounds, and is the highest rated tight end in like 5 years going to LSU. You also get a monster back in Jonathan Cooper. Sax Harrison is going to be on the level. Baron Browning comes back. Shaun Wade comes back. But you lost your defensive coordinator. Now, as much as Ohio State fans love them some Kerry Combs, I also want to acknowledge here, Jeff Hafley was the reason that defense was good, because Greg Schiano was the reason that defense was bad. So we know that coaching matters, play calling matters. If Kerry Combs can do what Jeff Hafley did, they're right back to where they were last year, which is college football playoff, facing a team like Clemson. But that remains to be seen. Still, Al Washington is recruiting his butt off. Larry Johnson Sr. is recruiting his butt off. Tony Alford's recruiting his butt off, and Ryan Day knows how to win. Over at Clemson, much the same thing, right? They get their tailback back. In a year where, any other year, actually, Travis Etienne is the best tailback in all of college football. But last year, you had to contend with J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor, and Chuba Hubbard. This year, you've got to contend with Chuba Hubbard, right? And it really ends there when we're talking about known commodities, okay? I know some of y'all want to put Kennedy Brooks in the conversation. I'm just not ready to do that, because one of those dudes is averaging 9 yards per carry for a college football playoff national champion. The other dude can't actually win a college football playoff game. And the other dude is a 2,000-yard rusher and wins the Heisman in a regular year in Chuba Hubbard. You also lost your prime target at wide receiver in Justin Ross. He's out for the season. Maybe he'll be back, but he's out for this year. And you lost one of your co-OCs. Jeff Scott is now the head coach at USF. So Tony Elliott is the dude pulling the strings, play calling. We'll see. Tony Elliott is an outstanding recruiter. And it's still a Brent Venables defense, because what Venables has been able to do with that defense is incredible. They remake it every year. Hey, I got 4 first-round studs on defensive line, so we're going to be defensive line heavy. Hey, I have a mutant, a destroyer of worlds called Isaiah Simmons. So I'm going to build everything around the destroyer of worlds. And oh yeah, all I do is recruit and recruit and recruit and develop and develop and develop. The number 60 prospect in the 247 Sports 2017 composite is Justin Broyles. You know his number 61? A.J. Terrell. That is a first-round draft pick out of Clemson to the Atlanta Falcons. That's what he's been able to do. He's actually been able to develop 4 stars in the first-round draft picks, and we're still waiting on Justin Broyles to figure it out at safety. In his defense, J.J. Terrell got to play corner. Justin Broyles has only been allowed to play quarter like half a season. So there's that. But the field includes Alabama, Georgia, a defending champ LSU, if that's what you like, a Penn State that people really want to be good, A USC that people really want to be good. A Texas that might be the most talented, not just in the Big 12, but in the country. I mean, you got options over there. You have Mac Jones returning, we think, as a starting quarterback. And he threw 2 pick sixes in a game that Auburn won, in a game that Alabama lost, to a quarterback I wouldn't trust to throw a door closed. However, of the 2 pick sixes that he did throw, one of those was off the back of Najee Harris. Okay. He was late. If he ain't late, fine. I'll let that one go. Still threw a pick 6. Okay? Maybe Bryce Young's the dude by the end of the year. We'll see. Najee Harris is a dude. Devontae Smith is a dude. Jalen Waddle is a dude. They get Dylan Moses back from injury after not having him. And in a year where Alabama was decimated by injury, they still won 11 games. God. They won 11 games, and they won like the last 4 with the backup quarterback. Basically the 3rd string quarterback, because the 2nd string quarterback transferred to Oklahoma and was runner-up in the Heisman. I picked Alabama to win a national championship, okay? At Georgia, you get store brand Cam Newton. If Jamie Newman can figure it out with Todd Monken, you already know how that goes. And you got 5 running backs that I trust. You only got 1 wide receiver, and you got to be able to play defense. Georgia lost as many games last year as Florida. The difference is Florida lost those games to LSU and Georgia. Georgia lost those games to LSU and South Carolina in Sanford. Got jacked for their hedges in broad daylight. Got punked. This is the state of Georgia, where they shoot people for walking into the doorway. Not that day. They walked in the doorway, they robbed your moms of a rose garden, and you said what? Nothing. Can't pick Georgia, man. LSU got more new faces than an integrated high school. Okay? Returning production is bottom. Like 124th out of 130 teams. They're going to have so many things they got to figure out defensively with Bo Pelini install a new scheme that he hasn't actually been able to install. The LSU stands continue to want to tell me that Steve Ehlinger has always been the offensive coordinator. Yeah, okay, but Joe Brady's the dude diagramming the pass plays. You got a new quarterback in Miles Brennan. You get Jamar Chase back, cool. You get Terrace Marshall back, cool. Nobody talks about Terrace Marshall, although we probably should. Should talk about Terrace Marshall the way we were talking about Justin Ross. I get that. John Emery's a dude. Ty Davis-Price is a dude. But you're brand new on the offensive line. I can't see it. I could actually see A&M once again getting a W over you for the 2nd time in 3 years. I can see that. It's there. I really love Ohio State. I really love Clemson. But I picked Alabama. I'm going to stick with picking Alabama. But I would not mind you taking Ohio State, Clemson versus the field. I'm just not going to do it because I think the field is pretty good. And I think that both Ohio State and Clemson are an injury away at a key position from being also Rans because the dudes behind them are unproven. The dudes behind Justin Fields, I'm not ready to trust. The dude behind Trevor Lawrence has a way better shot at being good, DJ Uyunglele, but he has not been tested, and it's going to be his first year in the system. And anybody who's seen that dude sees way more Jameis Winston than they see Drew Bledsoe. All of that stuff matters. Now, of the dark horses that everybody should keep an eye on, there's only 2, right? There's only Michigan and Texas, which is how it feels for like the past 10 years. But here's the problem with Michigan. Who's the quarterback? Is it Joe Milton? Is it Dylan McCaffrey? Either way, it ain't a dude that I think is a threat to win a Heisman Trophy. And you're going to put it all on Ronnie Bell? That what you're going to do? You lost Tariq Black in the transfer portal. Who you throwing the ball to? Is the defense going to stand up like it did last year? Man, it's real difficult to pick those teams because the difference between winning 11 games and 12 games is quite literally a conference championship and or a bowl game. Michigan, Texas ain't won those things here lately, man. Michigan, you got to go back a ways before they last won a Big Ten championship. Texas fans can't even remember the last time that they felt good about their opportunity to win a Big 12 championship. I'm just out here trying to give you the facts for when you go to the bookies and tell them yo, I'm picking the field against Ohio State Clemson because that's a smart play. But knowing so many of y'all will just hedge. That's fine. That's all right. I'm still sticking with Alabama. Defensively, they get healthy. Offensively, Mac Jones might be the weakest dude on that offense. And they get Evan Neal and that offensive linebacker. And Nick Saban continues to just laugh at me as he reloads each and every year, putting out top 5 class after top 5 class after top 5 class. Meanwhile, Oklahoma ain't had a top 5 class since 2010.